Yeah.
All right, here we go. In week 10 for the Eagles. Flying high with the birds. Philadelphia Eagles talk. I am the Godfather. With me today, Will Seal the Deal Silly. How you doing, Will?
What's going on, fellas?
The podcast chaplain, Jimmy. What's going on?
Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
There you go. And the Armenian Hammer. What's up?
Hi guys, 9-1, first
Yes.
place.
Week 10, Eagles come from behind and win 17-16 against the Indianapolis Colts. I think that I'm going to have a new golden child here, and that guy's name will be Linvale Joseph. He's my new golden child. So, Vahe, let's start it off with you. Give me some thoughts on the game.
They should blitz more. I think at the end, when they start blitzing really well, they stopped the Colts. And Gannon, I think he should be blitzing more often, especially with all the weapons that he has. And Howie, he's really, really good. He went out there and got a couple of run stoppers, because otherwise it would have been another sieve game, and they would probably end up losing the game. But those two additions were really came through big for the team. As far as the special teams, man, they need a lot of work.
Yeah.
And also the penalties, man. I can't believe they keep getting all those holding and false start, down the field type of a deal. It's like, I don't know what's going on. But overall, they won, so that's what really matters.
Yeah.
And I know all of us pretty much don't think, Gannon's that great of a coach. But I mean, really, like, the defense is really keeping them in these games. At least the last two, the defense has been the reason why they're even like in them, because the offense is really stalling the last few weeks. So I mean, I know Armin watched the game again today, and he saw that Hurts looked good for the most part. But I mean, all that matters is points, and we had three quarters with only putting up 3 points, and that's alarming to me. I don't care really how good the Colts defense might be. Like, that's probably their strongest part of their team. But I mean, 3 points in 3 quarters for an offense that's supposed to be, elite this year. And later in the season and the playoffs, the teams that win are the teams with, those high-powered offenses that can put up a whole lot of points. And I mean, just looking at Dallas the last 2-3 weeks, they're putting up like 30, 35 plus a game. And now the 49ers look really good. So I'm actually, Gannon is, he's on my good side right now. I just think the offense really needs to step it up or figure something out.
Don't you think Miles Sanders should be even more of a factor now, especially with Goddard being out? Like, why do they refuse to?
They don't use. They refuse to use him. I don't know why. And I've been saying it for weeks. I don't understand why he's even on the team. He's too good of a player for them to not use somehow. Just, I don't know, put him in screen passes or have him sit behind the linebackers.
I'm not too big on him. I mean, the thing is that the first fumble, because of him, he couldn't block well. And second, I think he's lost some steps. I mean, he's not really as explosive as he was before. And maybe that's why the reason they're not playing him that well.
What's he averaging this year? Do we know?
A little over 4 yards a carry, and he was doing pretty good until I guess a couple of weeks ago when they weren't.
The ball this year.
He hasn't fumbled the ball, but they also haven't thrown to him. And let's go back to that sack, that strip sack, Vahe. I think that was more Mulata's fault.
No. I think Mulata was supposed to be covering somebody else, and it was Sanders. I saw that, and then he missed it. And it was a coaching decision too. It was a mistake because he looked so small against the rusher, whoever it was, and then they stripped the ball.
Ngakoue, who really gave
he was a big guy.
A really difficult time when he played for for the Las Vegas Raiders last year. But let's just go really quick. Bringing up Mulata, he's struggling a little bit right now. He's having some mental errors. Well, I don't know what you think, but he's not the same player. Maybe maybe that shoulder injury he suffered, I believe it was in week 3,
Yeah,
still affecting him.
he's definitely missing a step, and I mean, there's something going on there where there is, more pressure coming from his side, but it seems like the defenses are just playing like a little different. They're rushing, Jalen a little more. So I don't know. Like it is part of the line's fault, but I mean, if you look at like the big picture, I just think defenses are really playing us differently to get Jalen to get the ball out of his hands, and he's really not. They're not allowing him to be as effective running the ball. I mean, I don't know what the hell happened that last play where we scored. You could drive a Mack truck through that hole. I mean, but they're really not letting that happen as often as it used to be.
I've never seen a hole that big. I was like, wow.
I've
He was
I've seen holes that big watching like 65-pound youth football when they have a guy do like a double reverse and half the kids are on the other side of the field.
Yeah. But the Eagles, I mean, I think a lot of the defenses are definitely game planning better. The Eagles were almost averaging 20 points in the second quarter. And then in the last 3 games, I think they scored 13 points combined in the third quarter or in the second quarter in these last 3 games.
See, the thing is, I think some of it has to do with the weapons on the offense. Like, I don't know what's going on with Devonta Smith, and he's not being as productive as he was last year. And there was one play at the beginning, it was a 3rd and something, and he dropped the ball. It was right into his hand and just slipped through his hand. And the only one really showing up is AJ Brown, and he was, had an ankle issue last week. So if you don't have reliable, offensive weapons, you get to the point, it's going to start, impacting you. And I think Goddard's situation is really very big, because the thing is that he provides so much, break for. Yep. Anytime he needed something, he would be wide open in the middle of the field and would catch the ball and get you another, 5 or 6 or 10 yards. I think him missing is big on the team.
I think where the Eagles are offensive game plan really failed is, even though Goddard wasn't in there was really no place for the tight end. I mean, there was one completion to a tight end. It was a Jack Stahl for a couple of yards, and that was it. You have to, it doesn't matter.
And he was the cause of one of the penalties too, right?
Yeah,
I was just going to say that. Did he get a penalty?
Yeah. On their first drive, I think they had 3 penalties in a row, and they were driving down the field, and they actually were in Colts territory 3 times in a row. After the first 3 times, I believe they had the ball, and they just shot themselves in the foot. But let's throw Quez Watkins in there. He's played pretty good the last couple of weeks. He's come into his own. But what has surprised me last week from an offensive scheme standpoint is the fact that whoever's designing the plays, whether it's Sirianni or Steichen or both of them, tight ends not getting involved in any passing plays, and neither is the running back. It just seems to be just going to the wide receivers, and that definitely has to change this week.
If you guys noticed towards the end when they were driving, right? It was Boston Scott who got the ball. It wasn't Sanders, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Like, that's what I was saying. Like, do the Eagles just not like Sanders? Is he not doing something right? Like, it seems like they do whatever they can not to give him the ball as much as they can.
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. Well, he's in his contract year too.
And
so
he actually made a really smart play at the end of the game to draw that flag.
Yes.
And he said he knew he had the matchup and he went for it. And we got the PI call.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And remember when they had the ball, I don't remember. It was a touchdown they got with the first touchdown with Quez Watkins. Scott and Sanders were like, they were together. They were playing. One was going in for the other one, and they would just dive forward for 4 or 5 yards every play. And it was really a safe way to run the football, I think, and to gain yards, and which ultimately ended up getting them the touchdown. So Yeah, I agree that, the offense has a little bit of an issue right now. I really think they're going to be okay. I know they got to get their tight ends, involved again, but I mean, right now, as far as the running backs are concerned, like you could turn around and you could say, well, they don't have any running back depth right now. There's only one guy really running the ball. And then on the other hand, you're saying, well, they ain't running the ball that much. So I don't know what they're going to do. And hopefully they change it around and there's a little bit more running attack coming up, because that's what they were great in last year, So,
Right.
but anyway, let's go to the defense real quick. What do you guys think about those two newcomers?
Made a
Linval Joseph
difference. Made
and
a big
Adama and
difference.
Sue.
Yep.
They are, I'll tell you, Joseph was immediately made an impact. When Joseph and Sue came in on the second series, everything changed. They really struggled to run the ball. Joseph is just, I didn't realize he was that big. He is mammoth, and he never got pushed back. At most, they were able to just stand him up and just stay in his space. And I think Sue was really coming more into his own as the game was going along. But Joseph had a really good game, like from the very beginning. But the greatest part of that game was they both combined for a sack together on the one play. That just really said it. So, Will, I don't know what you think about these two new guys.
I think they're great. I mean, they're exactly kind of what you need. You need the big bodies to kind of replace Jordan Davis. But what I really think it's done is it's allowed Fletcher Cox to get more, breathing time on the sidelines. I think he's too old to be having as many snaps as he does. And it kind of showed this game. He actually played better. I don't know. It could be because he's got some, two guys basically fighting for his job. Or it could be because, he's getting more breathing time. I don't know. But either way, it's good for us. Cox played better. These guys were, great. I can't complain. I'm happy with the two additions.
Without a doubt, we're going to need them, especially at this, the remaining games in the playoffs. Playing a lot of good running backs.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't wait till Jordan Davis comes back.
Could you imagine when he comes back?
Those four guys just rotating everything. Oh man, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring this up too. I was listening to Inside the Birds, and this is Jason Avant, and I can't think of the other guy, Quentin Michael. They do the podcast together sometimes, and they were on yesterday, I believe, and they made a really good point that they're seeing that the younger guys in the backfield, like the guys, the safeties, are really not communicating with each other, and that's why some of these receivers are wide open on plays. And I think it's just a matter of them getting a little bit more comfortable with each other. But the problem that they see is communication. And you're talking about like Chauncey Gardner, Marcus Epps. They even Will and I even saw Reed Blankenship play on a nickel coverage the one time at safety, and Chauncey Gardner moved up into the box when they went into the nickel. But yeah, I do believe that part of the problem also is the communication gap that they have there with the younger guys. But I think in time they're going to get better.
Yeah, I think it's definitely sure to say I think Kayvon Wallace will not be on this team next year. Like they don't use him at all. That's one guy we can probably count out for next year.
Yeah.
And also last week there were a couple of times that Slay got beat too. And I think it happened the week before that with when they were playing Washington. So I don't know whether he lost his step or he's hurt.
Is he banged? That's what I was thinking. I was watching that game. I wonder if he's banged up a little bit because he hasn't been, big play Slay the past few weeks.
Yeah, he's definitely been playing really aggressive too. So that could be something. He might be giving up too much because he's trying to make a play.
Yeah. And I tell you, just Isaiah Scott has been getting bashed. With Avonte Maddox out, he's the guy that's playing in the slot. I think he did all right. I think he made some plays. He's not going to be a superstar, but I think he's okay to be that guy to take over for the slot receiver, the slot back. I like him too, but again, it's another young guy, and it's, I think part of the problem there is I see two problems with the back seven. There's not great tackling all the time, and a lot of them are kind of new and they're younger, and there's not the communication, but I think it's going to get better as we go along. And I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but I think the more they play together, the better they're going to get. But guys, what did you think about the game TJ Edwards had?
He had a monster game.
Yep.
Monster game.
He is a beast, and I don't know when the Kobe Dean's going to get a shot at playing. I mean, even Kaiser White's playing pretty good too. They play pretty good together, but Edwards is all over the field. If they don't sign, they have to sign him to a long-term contract. He's doing everything right now for them.
I mean, that's the only problem. They're going to be able to afford everybody.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
That's the only problem. That's why I think Dean will be more of a factor next year, I think.
Yeah, because he's just going to be one of those casualties, guys, especially when Hurts is getting a big contract. You're going to lose good players. And just because we did draft Kobe Dean, it just makes it easier, for the team to kind of move on, feeling comfortable with somebody else that's younger. And that's just kind of, even if, Edwards plays out of his mind, it's just kind of that, wrong situation, wrong time kind of thing.
Right. I think somebody's going to pay him.
Yeah, I agree. Let me ask you guys this before we take a break for a commercial. The two new guys, Ndamukong Suh and Linval Joseph, if they continue to play the way they played this past week, do you see one or both of them being on this football team next year?
I don't know. They're 1 year. I think they're 1 year rentals.
Yeah.
35. They're only 35 years old, Vahe. So
that's it.
They look good because they came in halfway through the season.
Halfway through the year. I think
yeah, they were sitting on a couch for 11 weeks.
What a great move by Howie, though. Both of them.
Those guys,
literally, now they're ready. They're ready to go. They're fresh, and
those guys were only going to sign with a team that has a chance to win a Super Bowl.
That's correct. But if they play like this the rest of the season, and they see that they're on to something, and the Eagles go really far, if not winning it, I think that, I don't know. Let me tell you something. Linval Joseph, he's got my vote. I love both. I always like Sue. I didn't realize Joseph was as big a run stuffer as he is. What a big dude he is. Could you see him and spelling Davis when Davis comes back? They're going to be loaded in the middle. And like Will was saying, I think Cox played a little bit better with a little bit more meat in there in the front. So who knows? Maybe Cox was just trying to do too much. And to me, I just think he was just leveling off quite a bit. But I kept an eye on him, and he more than handled his own. Even on the double teams, he held his own too. So I'm going to break for commercial, and then we're going to talk about the Packers, who they play this week. Is your kitchen or bathroom outdated or in serious need of repair? Since 1987, Kitchen World offers the latest in custom, semi-custom, and even stock cabinetry. The designers offer the absolute best in custom design, right down to the exquisite molding details. That's Kitchen World, with showrooms in Philadelphia, Bucks, and Montgomery counties. Call Burton to set up an appointment at 267-228-9875, or check us out at kitchen-worldinc.com. I just saw this 5 minutes ago. I didn't realize the Eagles are playing Sunday night.
Yep.
I thought it was 1 o'clock.
Sunday night.
Not good. Not good. I can't stand night games.
You don't like the night game?
No, I
No, because you have to be up until like 11:30.
Yeah, I'm normally getting up at that time, Jimmy. So, but anyway, they got the Packers, who are 4-7. One of the few well overpaid, overage quarterbacks they're going to be facing this week in Aaron Rodgers. I don't think they're going to mail it in because, I mean, right now they're only 4-7. They're on the outside looking in. Start with you, Jimmy. What do you think about the possibility of this being a real tough game?
I think it's going to be a tough game, but I think the Eagles are going to win the game. But you're playing, Aaron Rodgers. He's not the same, but Green Bay looks a little bit better. They got Dillon and Jones that can run the ball. I think the Eagles are going to win the game, but it's going to be a tough game.
The line is 7.
I was just going to ask you that. So it is 7.
Yep, it is
Okay,
7.
so they're getting 3 for being home, and that's
Plus
a good
4.
sign. Yeah. So, but Green Bay's always dangerous, and I remember, I guess it was about maybe 3 years ago, they played at Green Bay. Green Bay ended up being 14-3 that year, and the Eagles beat them. They beat them.
Yeah, I remember that game.
Yeah, they beat them in Green
That
Bay.
was a Thursday night game.
It was, yes,
It was
it was,
Thursday
and it was
game.
really a good game. The Eagles really
Yep,
played
I remember
physical,
that.
and they really coaxed Rodgers into some tough throws. But one thing about the Packers right now is that there's a classic case of a team where the quarterback is making the crux of the money here, and a lot of the players have left the team because they can't pay the other players. The same thing's happening in Denver with Russell Wilson right now. So I don't even know who the wide receivers are outside of Lazard, I think, for Green Bay, but I don't know. I mean, I think it could be a tough game for the Eagles because it's Green Bay, but I don't like their coach. But Aaron Rodgers, if he's on, he really does worry me. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, the thing is that right now the line is saying that definitely the Eagles going to win. And by the same token, you can never tell what's going to happen with Rodgers. I mean, he could look like a dud, or he could look like a Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah.
And one thing they should do is that they should blitz. And the thing is, it make him feel uncomfortable. And if you sit back and try to play zone defense, he can shred you apart. So hopefully Gannon comes up with new tricks.
Yeah.
And they got the rookie receiver, Christian Watson.
I forgot about him.
He's been stepping up for them.
Yeah.
Right? But I think the Eagles will be okay. Green Bay, Green Bay's not what they used to be.
Yeah, but you know, it's funny, like the last couple of years, it's the same thing. They're not the same team, and they're 14-3, or 13-4. Like they're
last year it's a little different. They still had Devontae Adams making the big plays, and I didn't think Rodgers was coming back. I'm shocked he's still there.
Well, I think they gave him a 3 or 4 year deal, and they're already talking
it's
about
like $200 million.
Is he going to play next year? Of course, he's going to play next year. He's not going to.
I thought he was going to go somewhere else, but.
No, I don't think he's going to go anywhere. Well, let's look at it this way. What kind of a team do you think they would be with that head coach if Aaron Rodgers wasn't the quarterback?
They're going to be a lottery.
They would be awful. They would be at the bottom of the heap. And that's why they had to pay Rodgers the kind of money that they paid him. But he slowed down too.
The rumor was the reason why Denver hired Hackett was because they thought he was going to bring Rodgers to Denver, but that never worked out.
What a disaster
that was the rumor. That was the rumor that I remember hearing.
That's a great point. I never heard that, and that makes total sense.
Yeah, that was the hot rumor.
And that's a disaster.
And,
Denver
they're
right
done.
now.
What are they going to do?
I'll tell you, Hackett is like, during a game, if you look at him, he looks like a deer in the headlights. He looks like he's saying to himself, "What am I doing here?" and then Russell Wilson is nowhere near the quarterback that he was. But then again, he really could be hurt. I mean, they said his groin was bothering him, and I think his hamstring. So I don't know. He's not mobile.
They're going to be screwed for the next 3 to 5 years with that contract.
Yeah, you make a deal with a quarterback, or if you make a deal like that with a quarterback and it turns out to be a disaster, or if you draft a quarterback in the first round and he turns out to be a bust, that could literally put the team back 2 or 3 years. And then also, there's the other
Denver is going to be even more, because I was looking at the trade. They gave up 2 first rounders 2 second rounders, and a couple of other ones.
And players, good
And players too.
Yeah.
So he could be bad a couple of years. You don't have picks.
Well,
He
they're
was
trading
good.
some of their good players to get some draft capital back. That's part of the.
Well, it's going to
that's-
take you more than 2-3 years.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, there's no doubt about it. And to me, like I watched that entire game the other day with the Raiders, and he is so average. I mean, he's like, to me, he looks like he's a little below average right now. He's no longer a dual threat quarterback. He cannot run. He can't run. So either he's hurt or he's just too old. He's not that old. What is he, 34, I think?
I think like 30, about that, 32, 33, 34.
No, he's not 32.
And maybe 33,
I
around
think
there.
he
yeah.
might have been 33. He might have been 33 when the season started, and now he's 34. But but they've traded some good players
Mhm.
during the season to get more draft capital here. But that team is like oh my God, it's just
And
a shame.
And everybody thought Seattle was going to be screwed, and they're the team 6-4, and
Mhm.
They knew
And
they
something
got
that
in the
everybody
basement.
else.
And they got all those picks.
Yeah.
you're right, they do.
Yeah.
Pete Carroll's laughing right now.
Yeah, absolutely. But getting back to Green Bay, hey, they beat 2 weeks ago, they beat Dallas. And Dallas, boy, they looked really good against Minnesota last week. So
Mhm.
When they say that Kirk Cousins never wins a primetime game,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
oh my God.
he's
what's
like
that with
he's
that?
like 1-19 or something. I think it's incredible.
well, but Dallas looked terrific right now. And what's really good for the Eagles is that the Eagles are 2 full games up right
Mhm.
now. 2 from in the division and also for home field throughout the playoffs.
And on Thursday they play against the Giants, so I'm hoping the Giants will, win this game.
Dallas and
Dallas,
Giants.
Oh, okay. I know they played once already. The Giants should have won that game, but Dallas won it at the very end. So
So
that's good.
This could be the
That's-
revenge game.
Yeah.
That's why that Eagle one was so huge on Sunday, like you just said, because they got the 2-game lead on everybody now.
Boy, could you imagine if Watkins would not have fumbled at the end of the Commanders game and they would have scored and won the game? They would have been 3 games up, more than
Yep.
halfway into the season.
Like Vahe was saying a couple weeks ago, he's like they might clinch by the beginning of December.
Yeah.
Well, Vahe, I know your prediction a couple weeks ago. I'm just not going to watch anymore. I'm just going to wait for the Super Bowl. I think we got to wait a little bit for that right now because I think teams are starting to figure the Eagles out. But I wanted to ask you this, and I want to go back to Hurts. Hurts ended up in the fourth quarter. I mean, Hurts really almost was single-handedly the reason why they came from behind in the fourth quarter and won that game. That's my opinion, especially after I watched it the second time. He had some great runs. But if you watch, whenever they did that RPO, and Washington did it, the Colts did it, you see all the rushers coming up, and they're all like, there's guys on the edge, there's a guy in the middle, and there's almost nowhere for him to go. And the runs that he really gets yards out of are the ones where he runs one way now, and there's a guy there, and then he's got to turn, spin around, and run up the middle, or he needs to get away from. He has to get away from people more than he did like earlier in the season. But listen, here I'm just going to say this as far as Hurts is concerned. This is his 3rd year in the league. His first year, he was very raw, did not start until near the end of the year. Last year, he was the start of the entire year. He was hot and cold. He had some really good games. He had some shaky games. He's a much better quarterback this year still. I don't care what anybody says. He is much better. And the progression to me, like if you were to tell me this time last year that he would be where he's at 10 games into the season, I would have said, no, I don't think he's going to progress that much. I don't know what you guys think about that.
He's got to be the MVP of the league, either him or Mahomes, correct?
I think if you had asked me for an MVP, it's at wide receiver for Miami.
Waddle or
No, the guy that they trade, that guy that was on
Tyreek Hill?
Kansas City. Oh, Tyreek Hill's amazing. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
You think he's over Hurts?
yeah, I forget how many touchdowns he has, how many yards. The guy's absolutely amazing, but go ahead.
I told Armin earlier. I just think I'm a hater. I think I just hate Hurts. I think I'm just a hater, and I'm gonna accept it. So if anybody doesn't like that, I diss Hurts all the time. I understand your perspective because I just can't stop hating him for some reason. Every
He
little
took your
thing,
voice
or
back.
every time we're not scoring, I'm just instantly thinking it's Hurts. So I'm sorry. And for any of our 5 listeners out there, I am a Hurts hater, and I
Oh, we're up to-
apologize to you.
Oh, we're up to 5. Okay.
4 of them
No,
are
but-
right here.
Yeah. Yeah, but wait a minute. What are you going to do about that Hurts
Listen,
jersey you bought about
this-
7 weeks ago?
I already burned it. It's gone. I burned it already.
Hey, bye.
Yeah.
Well, they're 10-1 right now.
Listen,
He's going
9-1.
9-1.
Listen,
They're
we
9-1.
lost to
He
we
wants
lost
to
to
burn
the
the
damn
quarterback's
Redskins.
jersey.
We
No,
lost to the damn Redskins, and we put up 3 points on the Colts for 3 quarters. I'm gouging my eyes out watching the game.
well,
we got we got some
that wasn't his fault. I
receivers.
mean, the reason they lost to the Washington wasn't his fault. The defense couldn't stop shit. But coming back to the issue with Hurts, I'm like, my thing with Hurts is basically that he's a system quarterback. So what is this? That he does need the weapons on the offense to make him look good. If he didn't have the offensive weapons, he's not going to make somebody to look better than what they are. Versus like Brady. Brady makes everybody else look good.
Is that an issue though? If we're gonna pay him?
No,
all
I
this
mean,
money?
no, I mean that goes back to what Howie's doing. Howie put people around him to make him look good, right? You got Goddard. Goddard's probably one of the best tight ends in the game, right? AJ Brown. They have Sanders, even though right now he's not really as as explosive as before. Plus, Hurts can run too. So he create, and then they have Devontae Smith, right? So he create and has an offensive line, top-notch offensive line. So they create the system for him to flourish. Versus a quarterback like Brady, he's just naturally makes everybody else look good. That's not Hurts. But can he succeed? Definitely. If you put people around him, he's smart enough, and then works hard enough, and you have enough talent to take you to the Super Bowl, maybe win it, but not by himself. With the cast and characters around him.
But I'm telling you, Howie Roseman's really going to have his work cut out for him if we pay Hurts, these top quarterback contracts, because he's not going to be able to have as much talent as he does right now.
But how many top quarterbacks do you have? How many do you have? I mean, you look around. I mean, you have Kyler Murray, right? So they paid him $240 million, and he's done. I mean, he's like way overpaid.
Well,
Yeah,
but let's
all
look.
of them are way
That's
overpaid.
that's.
And they
the
talk about that guy
problem.
from the Chargers. What's his name? The guy
Herbert.
Herbert.
All right, he got a big arm, and then what? He's not winning.
Well, he's not. Well, I mean, part of he's got a bad shoulder. I think that's been bothering him the whole
His
time.
back too, I think.
Yeah,
Then his ribs. He broke his
His
ribs.
ribs. Yeah, he broke
Oh.
his ribs.
yeah.
He's
so,
really on he's
But,
barely.
but
Josh
Will's
Allen-
right.
Josh,
I mean, Will
the
makes
only
it
quarterback basically right now I would take over Hurts is Mahomes. That's it.
Yeah, I don't even think it comes down to that top quarterback. It's just the fact that you're almost stuck where you have to pay him top quarterback money, and then you're taken away from the rest of your team. And I just don't know if Hurts is good enough that if you pay him that much money and he doesn't have as much talent around him, that we're going to be able to sustain what we're doing right now.
And
Well,
we-
if you
I
look
agree
around,
with you,
who do you think will be better suited for the Eagles as a quarterback from the league?
From the league, I mean, there's plenty of quarterbacks.
Okay, who? Just
But
name names.
I don't agree at all.
Just no. Just
think
name
there's a
names. Just
couple
name
that
names.
really
Just tell me who do you think better fit for the Eagles as a
I
quarterback?
think Dak Prescott would be a better.
Come on. Get
Uh,
out of
No,
here.
I'm dead serious.
No.
Josh Allen, Pat.
Oh, well,
Mahomes.
Josh Allen's good. Yeah.
Josh
must
Allen
be-
is a train wreck waiting to happen. I mean,
It
the way
must
he
be-
played,
What?
honestly, he's like Carson Wentz 2022. Wait and
You-
see. This
Do
guy
you
is
really
like,
think that Hurts is putting up these outrageous numbers that other quarterbacks can't do it if they were in this offense? Though, this is a good offense.
I
We're making this
definitely agree with
expectation
you,
of
Will.
Jalen Hurts to be like some crazy MVP when he's really not an MVP type quarterback. He's just running the ball like really effective, and he's not turning the ball over. That's what's great about Hurts. But to say that like other quarterbacks in this league in this offense can't do what he's doing, I just find ridiculous.
I don't
No.
think other players can do what he's doing right now.
I agree with you, Will. It's must be the young guys.
Well, I'm against you guys. I think that he is a dual threat quarterback. I think he's a system quarterback to a point, but because he's dual threat and he can do all these things, I think he makes the team better. Listen, here's the way I look at it. Any tight game the Eagles have had, I just always get this feeling that when he's in a huddle, like he's ready to take this team on his back and do it.
Yeah.
That's a feeling I get. That's what he did against
The last drive. The last
he did it
drive
on the
was-
last drive in that game. He did it against the Arizona Cardinals when they came from behind and beat them. And there was what game with the Jacksonville when they were down
14-0.
14-0. He just took the team on his back and to me he's a leader. He is. I think he's a game manager. He's a leader. He's extremely. I think he's an extremely healthy guy. I'm not, not going wood. He's helped, like he hasn't gotten hurt, but he just seems like the type of guy to me that's also going to be very, very durable for a long time to come. And here's the biggest thing. He's 24 years old. He's a baby. And he's got the maturity of a guy that's been in the league 10 years. And listen, I'm not riding a high horse on him because I had my doubts at the end of last year. If you remember, when they lost to Tampa Bay, I was like, I really started to have doubts about him because he looked lost in that game. To me, if you look at this 10-game window, he's really, he's a much better player. And if he's even better next year, I think that you're going to have a sensational guy down the road. I just hope that he doesn't command this number that's going to just blow people away.
He's
I'm going to tell you, he's not going to get Rodgers' numbers.
I say he's going to get 45 though. Kyler Murray's number. I'm very impressed with his demeanor. If you watched him all Sunday on the sideline, he's sitting there all calm. He's like,
Yep.
Don't worry. I'm very impressed by that. But
yes.
his number has got to be 40 to 45 million. He's getting.
Wow. Do you really think so?
Come on. If Kyler Murray's getting 45 million, you don't think Hurts' people are going to be like, yo?
Well, Bidwell's an idiot in Arizona to give him that kind of money.
It won't matter
Wilson,
though. If that's the number, that's the number.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. That's the number.
Like it's crazy. And that's what Lamar Jackson and the Ravens are arguing, that they don't want to give him a guaranteed contract. And he's saying, well, I'm not signing.
Well, he's a train wreck waiting to happen too.
Yeah, I agree.
Exactly.
With that. But
He's a career-ending injury.
What do you think Hurts is going to get next year? Like,
I agree. It's going to be another $40-45 million range.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially if he takes you to the Super Bowl.
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I was shocked that Kyler Murray it's like 46.1 million. That dude sucks.
Hey, what does
He hasn't
Cousins
played
make?
since Call of Duty came out.
Yeah, but Cousins makes like his contract was like 40-something million a year. I thought.
Is
I'd
it
have
that
to
high
look-
too? I thought it was in the high 30s.
I think he
Maybe
signed
it
for
is.
35 or something,
All right,
and then
okay.
everybody else start going up.
Boy, that is incredible. The kind of money that they demand.
I think Mahomes only makes 40.
Well,
Oh, but he signed it like a 10-year contract. 10
Right.
year, $400 million or 450. Yeah, that's unbelievable, isn't it? But
Yeah, but
he's one of a kind though. That guy's. I mean,
Yeah,
that's really amazing.
but they could.
Mahomes-
Roseman could find a way to space this money out with him so that it doesn't interfere with the cap too much. That's what I feel is going to happen. And I think Hurts is a guy that wants a win. He wants to play on a team that's going to win. I don't think it's just.
And
about
hopefully he
personal
realizes
specs.
basically he needs the cast around him to make him look good. So maybe he'll take a little bit less money so that it will be available to the other, players to make him look better too. Hopefully he's smart enough to see that.
That's a sign of a leader right there. Yup. Like Brady always did that with New England. That's why New England was so good for all those years. They were to pay their offensive line and whoever, because Brady took a little bit less.
Yeah, he always did. And he did it with small wide receivers, guys
Yeah.
that really didn't pan out anywhere else that they went.
Welker, Ola.
Yeah, no, you're right. All right. We're close to wrapping this up. Let's go over our picks for last week. Jimmy,
Who picked the Colts?
Jimmy,
Jim
I
picked
definitely lost.
well, I know
definitely
you lost, but I'll tell you what, you weren't too far off because
Well, you can't go like that. If
no,
you
no,
lost, you
no,
lost.
I know. So you're definitely out. So that leaves me, and I had 35-10, which is out. It was just crazy. Will
Right.
was 35-17. Vahe was 35-24. So Vahe, you're the winner.
Wow.
You're the winner.
Just because
So,
of the
There you go.
differential.
yeah, because of the differential. So now I got 4. Jimmy has 4.
No, I don't have. I don't
Vahe, no,
four.
I have 4. Jimmy has 3. Vahe has 3. Will has 1. Vahe.
Moving forward, well, you have to keep picking the opposite. That way, you're gonna go down.
All right, that's what I'm gonna do.
Well,
I gotta-
Vahe, unfortunately,
play
you
the
gotta
odds.
go. You gotta pick first this week because you won. So give me a score for Green Bay.
Oh, for Green Bay. Interesting.
Yeah, this is going to be a real tough one.
You know what? To be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if Green Bay wins.
Whoa.
Oh, well,
No, I'm honest to God. I mean, 21-17 Eagles.
Ah.
I was gonna say Vahe's never going against the Eagles.
21-17 Eagles. Now, was gonna say I was gonna pick those numbers.
Nah, he was going to go 21-18. Jimmy, go ahead. What do you got?
I'm gonna go 27-20 Eagles.
27-20. I'll go, Will. I'm going to say 31-17 Eagles. What do you got Green Bay winning by, Will?
21-17 Green Bay.
Oh, we goes the
The
opposite.
same numbers except opposite.
Yeah.
You picked my numbers, Vahe. That's the one over you.
Yeah, you know what? As soon as you said the 21-17, before you said the Eagles, Will's going, that's what I was going to pick, for God's sake. Oh, jeez. Any last minute thoughts before we wrap this up? Any guy we didn't talk about that you think? I'll tell you, on my end, I have concerns all of a sudden about Mulata. For me, my concerns. A lot of defenses are now trying to kind of figured out the Eagles' offense, and now they're going to have to counter. The Eagles are going to have to counter that. Mulata's starting to concern me a little bit. Running back depth and enough running back plays is starting to concern me. And
How about the punt returner?
Yeah, him too.
Britton Convey. I mean, the guy is like
Britton Covey. Yeah, that
Covey.
concerns me too. But here's the other thing: tight end. Please, I hope that Shane Steichen has the tight end in some of the plays, and maybe Howie Roseman's personal golden child, Tyree Jackson, get some plays in this week. But I gotta tell you, is he a big guy? The few plays that he was in, he is big, man. So. But anyway, any other last minute thoughts before we wrap this up? That's it.
Would you
We'll
look
save
at
my
Melvin?
more Jalen Hurts hate till next week.
All right. So listen, when they put up a 30 spot in the second quarter, I'll start calling your phone and leaving you messages.
You guys are gonna have a good Thanksgiving dinner, right?
Yes,
you guys gonna be
sir.
talking about this?
No, I don't think Will's not with us
No,
on
I'll be at my
Thanksgiving.
dad's.
So right. So they can talk Green Bay the whole time over there.
Next family party gonna be interesting.
man, guys, the Sixers are winning 48-40.
All
I
right.
gotta go watch this game.
You're not
going
gonna
to
believe
Simmons?
this. I saw Ben Simmons' first free throws. He actually made both.
Did he really?
Oh,
Ben Simmons, so far he has 6 points.
Oh my God. Wow. He's an all-star. All right, we're going to wrap this up. You guys can watch the Sixers game. Thanks so much for watching and listening. All 3 people that watch us. Flying high with the birds, Philadelphia Eagles talk. See ya.
See you
Later,
guys.
guys. Have a good
Guys later.
Thanksgiving.
Take it easy. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah.